Hey guys, okay, so I had to come back because you know I was so disturbed by the last Salmon Wellington, and let me see, I'm looking for a fork because I want to taste it. Buzz, you need to cut it. Okay, so we did the first one on the video and it was gorgeous, mind you, but the cooking time that they said is like, that's just not how we eat our salmon. So I took the salmon out of that one and I cooked it a little bit more, and then I put it back in with the stuffing, and then of course I just browned it again. I put some cheese on top. So we had the extra phyllo dough. Hey Zakia, Karen. So we had the extra phyllo dough, which I only used half of it this time. And I'm getting ready to go in and try it. You guys know the dag. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I love cooking with this puff pastry. Let's see if we can get us a bite. Oh my God, look at that, guys. Even before I get it in my mouth. That's the puff pastry. You're not even on camera. It's so good. And I took a third of it off. I didn't even like put the other third on there. So what I did was I took my salmon out of that first one. Yep, I did. And I put it back in the oven and let it cook a little bit more, because I was going to try and salvage that, but I was like, no, I got some more dough. Let me go ahead and just grab that salmon, and I put it in the oven, let it cook a little bit, season it up a little bit. And the stuffing, you know, we had a little stuffing left, and just put it in another dough. And I mean, it came out really good. And I said this is probably one of the ones the family would wish I made a lot of. They're probably going to say to me, like, all the good stuff, I never make enough of it. And all the stuff they don't like, we end up with tons of it in the fridge. This is really good. So, here's what I suggest. Yeah, I made it live. And I also made, let me grab the pudding. I have a pudding. So, here's our meal. And I also had some quinoa, but I'm not fancy of the quinoa. So I made a chocolate pudding out of avocado and banana. All right, so that's my dessert. But this right here, and you're supposed to like slice it. You're supposed to share it, basically. It's supposed to be enough to share. And really it is, because I mean, when you think about the fact that you got stuffing and you have dough. I'm going to watch the replay. It looks delicious. I did the short one. Don't even worry about doing the replay. I'm doing a shorter version because the replay was actually, well, you know how to skip along, but the replay was pretty long because we were hanging out talking in the kitchen while I did this. But it was really quick. But here's what I suggest, you know, to the way we cook. Marinate the salmon the day before, and we've said that before, that a lot of the we're sacrificing a lot of flavor when we don't marinate. We sacrifice, let's see, no share zone. Right, this is no share zone. My daughter gonna see this video, and she gonna be like, she gonna come home like, Mom, where's the Salmon Wellington? I ate it. But, and remember I said, like, trying the recipes, you know, using the recipe just kind of as a guide to get some of the flavor secrets, to get some of the processes and stuff like that. But I would suggest marinating your salmon, like put your salmon on the day before, night before, or something like that. Marinate the salmon, and even cook the salmon, because like you said, phyllo dough, the puff pastry cooks so fast. The recipe called for this to be in the oven like 20 minutes, and that's just not gonna happen. That puff pastry really cooks. Well, one, because of the puff pastry that I use, it's supposed to cook that fast. Because it was one of those, I put the box in the tray. It was one of those like instant pastry type things. So, you know, if you're not making your stuff from scratch, which we're not, there's no way you can put raw salmon in this and try to cook it 20 minutes. The recipe said like put it in the oven for 20 minutes. That thing was in the oven probably about 10 minutes and almost burned, really. So I took the salmon out of that. I just cut it open. Took my salmon out of that. Put it back in the oven. Let it cook. And then just restuffed it again. Oh my God. Puff pastry. Yeah, you have it. The way, let me tell you, when you go to your galas and your dinners and stuff like that, those little hors d'oeuvres, you always get, like, they call them beef Wellington. It's usually got a piece of beef in it, some spinach. Now, I did not put as much cream cheese. Like I said, I kind of doctored the recipe to taste, right? I need some of my lemonade. I got a fresh batch of lemonade. I know, right? This puff pastry, I kept a little piece of this one out. I didn't use the whole one on this one. I kept a little piece because I'm gonna. I bought some peaches. I bought a couple of peaches, and I'm gonna cook the peaches to, in some simple syrup, and I'm gonna put that in the puff pastry. And we've done it. We've done the puff pastry before, but it's like little coffee cakes. And let me tell you, even if you take the cream, like I have some cream cheese. If you take cream cheese, okay, a little teaspoon of your vanilla and some sugar, and just mix that up, and then put that in the puff pastry, and just bake that off till it browns, and put that on your stove just to have as a little snack, you know. Or I could take it and put this chocolate pudding in it. I mean, and it cooks really fast. You put a little egg wash on it. I didn't have any eggs left, so I used some butter. But if you've ever gone to, like, a wedding, a gala, those little hors d'oeuvres, this is like 10 times the size of the little hors d'oeuvres that they give you. But those little hors d'oeuvres, that's what the Wellington is. Any Wellington, look, me heading to the market for puff pastry. I'm telling you. And, you know, and the kids, are like, they have the ones where you can cut out. You can take it and cut out. You can make all kind of things. Even if you just want to do the puff pastry with some icing on it, you know, chocolate icing, or play around with it. I mean, there's so much you can do with it. But mostly people eat it as stuffed in the with Wellington, either beef, fish, poultry, pork, and you always have it at a hors d'oeuvre, as an hors d'oeuvre. And when you bite into it, it's always a little puff piece of bread. You bite into it, you never know what's on the inside of it. So today, one of the viewers, Rhonda, actually tagged me in it. And I was sitting in the grocery store parking lot. She tagged me in the recipe. She said, I can't believe I shared this 2 years ago. I bet Yolanda would love to make this. And I was sitting in the parking lot because I couldn't decide. I didn't have an appetite. I didn't know what to cook today. And as I read the recipe, I'm like, wait a minute, I have all of these ingredients. So all I had to buy was the puff pastry. And so all you do was, you know, we have our little pan here. So we have our little pan. But all you do, you want to marinate your salmon. At least have a couple of hours for that to sit in whatever your favorite marinade. Most people love salmon with teriyaki. I mean, how many times do you have salmon and spinach, right? So marinate your salmon. But what you do is you take your salmon, you put it in the phyllo dough. Now, the spinach stuffing is just basically you saute your onions and garlic, right? You add in your spinach, and then add in cream cheese. And now, all my cheeses, I added those in to taste. If you want, like, spinach and artichoke, if you like heavy cheese, then add in heavy cheese. Cream cheese and Parmesan, shredded Parmesan. That's all it was. Spinach, onions, garlic, cream cheese, and Parmesan, right? And it also called for breadcrumbs, but I don't do the breadcrumbs. That's a whole depression era thing to me. So, I feel like we don't have to do breadcrumbs. But then again, you know, your breadcrumbs is there if you're going to do your breadcrumbs for flavoring and all that kind of stuff. My meatball subs, looking a little boring right there. And even on the meatball, I mean, you could do a meatball stuff puff pastry. Hey, Marvin. The moisture is really good. I mean, look at that. Look at that thing. I'm telling you, look at that. You know, just keep in mind that the salmon going in is going to cook a little bit. Not a lot, because the puff pastry that you buy, the ready-made puff pastry, is only going to be in the oven like 5 to 10 minutes. You know, I don't know why the recipe said bake for 20 minutes. There's no way. There's no way unless you using made from scratch puff pastry, right? But I mean, your salmon, yeah, I'd bake the salmon or grill it, however you normally prepare your salmon. Just do that. And I just had that one piece of salmon because I knew I was gonna, explore something with it. But I'm so glad she shared this today because it's really good. It's really good. So you can see, I mean, of course, spinach. Look at that moisture. You talk about moisture. Spinach, already is going to retain a lot of moisture. And then, of course, the juices in there. You want to taste this? No. She said, not yet. Uh-oh. The carnivore may reach in, y'all. Can you believe it? And then you just basically wrap it in the puff pastry, cut a couple of slits in there. And this is the do-over. You can look at the video and see the first one we did. And the first one was fabulous. And I think even if I had left it alone, because I know Jason said that the salmon would have cooked, when you take it out of the oven, it's still going to cook some. But that still wasn't to my liking. I like my salmon the way I like my salmon. So, like I said, I put it back in the oven. And then put it in there with the stuff. I wish you guys could really see because it's layered. I've eaten on it, but it's actually layered. So you've got your puff pastry, your salmon, and then it sits on a bed. Because once you turn it over, because you take your salmon and you put your spinach mixture on top of the salmon, and then you flip it over to close up the puff pastry. So your spinach actually ends up on the bottom. That salmon fillet ends up kind of in the middle, and then or encased in the puff pastry. But it's really good. I think I'm going to try it with some other things, but because of the pastry, how fast that pastry cooks, you might want to just, if you get a recipe or find a recipe, just keep in mind if it says cook it in the pastry, no, because the pastry cooks so fast. So you want to make sure that that really everything is already done. Don't think that you're going to be able to bake this off in the oven, because in fact you'll see on the video I set off my smoke alarm. And one of the reasons I keep setting off my smoke alarm is because I used a parchment paper, and that parchment paper, once you pull it out, it's like smoking. So and it is flaky. Definitely look at that flakiness. See that? It's still flaky. Because it's like layers. See that? When you cut into it. So you get all these layers. It's like that stuff they use in baklava. So it's several layers of it. And definitely buttery and crispy. Oh my God. Alright guys, I'm going to tell y'all bye. I'm going to finish nibbling on this and my chocolate pudding. So we actually made a lot of things today. I made some quinoa. I don't like it. I have to try it again. But I love the chocolate pudding because I love avocado. And the good thing about this chocolate pudding, I've eaten off the other side of it over there. If you want to see, look how creamy that stuff is. But one thing about this chocolate pudding is made with avocados, and we know that avocados help to decrease your cholesterol. So you've got somebody that wants to go in on desserts and things like that are watching their health. Make it, don't tell them what it is. They'll taste a little bit of aftertaste for sure. Look at that. You wouldn't know what that was. And literally it is simply avocado and bananas mixed with some cocoa powder, some honey, and a little bit of vanilla. What could do, make sure to keep it nice and cold. And it's so good. Look at that. All right. Thank you guys for all your support, for watching. This was fun. This was really fun. I can see a lot of creative ways to take both of these. And then tomorrow this ain't that book club, so tomorrow's dish will pair up with whatever book I'm going to go check out some books and see what's out there for the books And we've decided that since y'all love the whole kitchen motif, that what I'm going to do with This Ain't That Book Club, we're going to pair our book. Last week's pairing was perfect. Barracoon by Zora Neale Hurston, which we paired with watermelon peach juice. And we also did the hoe cakes. The hoe cakes, the family absolutely love hoe. We've been eating hoe cakes all week. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.